Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Top 10 Professional Women and Leading Business Awards Luncheon. I am Graciela Moreno with ABC 30. I am truly excited to be here one more time and host this wonderful annual event where we come together to honor outstanding professional leaders in our community. Now this year we are very excited to be able to celebrate in person once again in a prominent venue on a very lovely fall day. Can we agree on that? Is today the most pretty day in a long time? And keep going with that applause because we also want to thank Chick Chansey Park, home of the Fresno Grizzlies, for sharing their fantastic facility with us today. It looks absolutely beautiful. Well, each of the women being celebrated today are serving as role models and they're giving back to their communities, all while making strides in their own professional roles. Now, this is the 38th Top 10 award ceremony, and we are very excited to announce that this year's keynote speaker is coming to us virtually from the Bronx in New York. She's an actress, author, and an advocate. Her name, April Hernandez Castillo. Before we hear from our keynote speaker, though, I want to introduce you to this year's Top 10 honorees, the wonderful women and leading businesses that you are all here to support. So please note that you will find a full bio for each honoree in your printed program. I will be sharing a few key highlights as we introduce each of them to join me up here on stage. All right, let's get started. Our first honoree is Rama Ambati, president of Ambati Properties. Throughout her life and career, Ambati has served her clients with honesty, with integrity, and professionalism while breaking barriers and shattering records. Ambati has been a leader in the real estate community since 1985, and she is nationally accredited as a luxury homes specialist. I'm always grateful for everything I have. My friends and my family and the community have provided me with so much. It always inspires me to be grateful and happy to help other people and to have a vision for the future, Ambati said. Additionally, Ambati serves as board chair of FISH, the Fund for Indian Subcontinent Heritage, and chairperson of the Hindu Temple Fresno. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rama Ambati. All right, next we have Colleen Curtis. She's president and CEO of United Health Centers of the San Joaquin Valley. With a keen eye for detail and an unyielding drive to serve her community, Colleen Curtis draws on principles, innovation, and high standard of excellence and service, which has elevated the reputation and image of United Health Centers of the San Joaquin Valley. Colleen comments, "It is all about the details. If you worry about the details, you don't have to worry about the big picture. And what motivates me is seeing others thrive and fly. I love seeing other people develop and achieve, and I see them succeeding in our organization." Curtis is a past board member of multiple health collaboratives and networks and received an ethics award from the Better Business Bureau in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Colleen Curtis. Our next honoree is Dr. Teresa Daniele, Chief Cardiology, UCSF Fresno. With a steadfast resolve, Dr. Daniele is a life-saving trailblazer with an unrelenting passion to educate and to support women. When she first joined UCSF Fresno in 2013, Daniele was the only female cardiologist between Los Angeles and San Francisco. And now, as the chief of cardiology, she is recruiting more qualified female cardiologists to the area. There is nothing you cannot achieve. You just have to work hard and keep at it. And that's really what keeps me going and inspires me every day, is to be a role model. Daniele, who has daughters of her own, said, "There is no greater satisfaction and no better joy than to see the product of your education and mentoring that has enabled a woman in particular to reach greater levels, to be successful, and to gain confidence." That is what it's all about. In 2016, Daniele was honored with the Central Valley Physician of the Year Award from the American Heart Association. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Teresa Daniele. Next, we have Shantae Davies Balch. She is the president and CEO of Black Wellness and Prosperity Center and the founding director, African American Coalition, Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission. Now, Black women and babies have an unapologetic champion in Shantae Davies Balch. I would definitely say that my peers and colleagues know that I am unapologetic about saying that I am not here to represent people of color, Davies Balch said. I am here to represent Black women and babies because Black women and babies are who's dying. That laser beam focus has profoundly provided just the right voice and action to save lives. Davies Balch's drive is rooted in challenging what may be accepted as a status quo. Her relentless commitment shines a spotlight on inequities by embodying the core aspects of belonging, love, affinity, community, and kinship central to the mission. Davies Balch is a member of numerous boards and has been the recipient of several awards, including Fresno's Top 40 Under 40 by Business Street. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shantae Davies Balch. Our next honoree is Valerie Davies. The power of education in its purest form radiates from Valerie Davis through Fresno Unified. Davis, the president of Fresno Unified School District Board of Trustees, beams with pride when she gets the list of valedictorians, new employees, retirements, and every kind of accomplishment by anyone associated with the state's third largest school district. I want to encourage kids to do their very best and to let them know that I am proud of them and I appreciate the work they're doing, and the same with their teachers, Davis says. In the 17 years that Davis has been involved with Fresno Unified, she recalls handwriting over 25,000 notes of congratulations and encouragement. Sometimes she says she does about 300 to 400 a week. Davis is a member of East Fresno Rotary, the Family Support Network of the United States Army, and a board member of the Central California Asian American Pacific Islander Organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Valerie Davis. All right, next we have Yvonne Dertarosian, Vice President, Community Health and Wellbeing, St. Agnes Medical Center. Life will show you a path, and you have to trust in yourself. There is a reason why opportunities are presented. Those words from Yvonne Dertarosian encapsulate one of the reasons why she has been able to positively impact so many in the Central Valley, especially supporting the healthcare needs for those in rural and underserved areas of Fresno County. At St. Agnes, Dertarosian remains focused on how she can especially help those who need social services with the St. Agnes Health Hub and countless initiatives, which have been invaluable in administering COVID-19 vaccines and supporting youth and adult health care. Do what you do what you love, and always feel fulfilled. Dertarosian shared with us, there are no do-overs if you don't put all into it. You're all into it. Dertarosian serves on numerous boards to advocate for at-risk populations in our community. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome Yvonne Dertarosian. Our next honoree is Dr. Luz Gonzalez, Executive Director, Fresno State Visalia Campus, California State University, Fresno. A dream and a relentless drive are a powerful combination. I have always asked the question, what is wrong with admitting average students into our universities? I believe these homegrown students, those who are considered average because they have not been afforded the right environment or conditions to excel academically, make the best future community advocates, bankers, healthcare professionals, engineers, social workers, educators. We need to remember that the brain never stops learning, never stops making connections and evolving. Let's give them a chance to show us how committed they are to improving their lives and the lives of their families. As one of the most accomplished advocates for this dynamic region, Gonzalez's legacy is one where she has been able to leverage collaboration and strategic partnerships through servant leadership to provide the necessary resources and time which have turned dreams into realities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Luz Gonzalez. Our next top 10 honoree is Sarah Marjaree. She is the Chief Program Officer of the Poverello House, a voice for those who don't have one. While using her legal expertise and compassionate heart, Sarah Marjaree provides that voice in so many ways. I just want to be a voice for those people who don't have a voice, and that motivates me every day, she said. To me, I work in hope, and every day is a hope that something good is going to come. As the Chief Program Officer at the Poverello House, Marjaree works in hope that while supporting those who need a helping hand, her leadership has helped thousands get off the streets and into permanent housing, and has done so while lifting up the spirits and successfully leading countless initiatives which have saved and empowered lives. Marjaree is Secretary of the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care and on the local board of the FEMA Emergency Food and Shelter Program. And she's also on the advisory group member for the Project Off-Ramp. She was a recipient of the Homeless Heroes Award presented by Mayor Dyer at the State of the City event in May for her tireless efforts to make our city freeways safer and cleaner, all while serving hundreds of individuals experiencing homelessness. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sarah Marjaree. Up next, we have Sally Orm Moreno, District Attorney, Madera County. Moreno, the elected district attorney for Madera County, openly shares her appreciation for her family and her community. A strategic thinker and puzzler, Moreno embraces the challenges that come with prosecution and the role that she has filled as an astute, responsive, and ethical leader by example. My job and my obligation is to give back to my community, Moreno said. My community picked me and they pay me. They pay me to work for them, and that is what I do every day. After graduating from UC Santa Barbara in 1990, Moreno served as a Los Angeles police officer and then as a commissioned officer in the United States Army, earning the USA Joint Service Commendation Medal for her efforts when activated as a reservist for Operation Desert Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sally Orm Moreno. All right, our final professional woman honoree is Lorna Rausch. She's the Secretary-Treasurer of Schultz Ranch Incorporated. A unifying force with a joyful spirit and incredible leadership skills, Lorna Rausch advocates for her community and the agriculture industry on a daily basis. Rausch is a fifth-generation farmer on the same land that her family purchased in Burrell in 1886. With integrity and accountability rooted in the ranch's foundation, Rausch's role has helped Schultz Ranch Incorporated continue to thrive while also bringing her community together to make Highway 41 safer. Now, Rausch is the leading force behind the widening Highway 41 collaboration, which started after her family suffered a loss when a cousin driving on Highway 41 was cut off, causing the accident that ended his life. It is in these moments when Rausch's innate ability to focus on solutions shines, no matter how deeply personal or challenging an effort may be. Rausch was recently named the 23rd Assembly District Woman of the Year for 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lorna Rausch. And lastly, the Leading Business Awardee, Central California Food Bank. They are being represented today by Natalie Caples and Kim Dildine, co-CEOs. Central California Food Bank started like many nonprofits with great passion but very limited resources. From its beginning in a temporary facility at the Fresno Fairgrounds and 3 other warehouse locations too small to meet community needs, CCFB relocated to its current location in 2018. A proud affiliate of Feeding America, CCFB is the largest food bank in Central California, serving Fresno, Madera, Kings, Kern, and Tulare counties, and providing for 350,000 people each month. Named as co-CEOs in May of 2020 during the global pandemic, COVID-19, Caples and Dildine quickly pivoted their operations to evolve for the immediate and changing needs of the community. Tapping into their respective strengths and complementary leadership skills, they accounted for health and safety protocols, and officially, they didn't miss a beat. With a hardworking and a creative team, CCFB's forward-thinking mentality has proven to be successful and Central Valley is stronger. The Central Valley is stronger because of people like Caples and Dildine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kim Dildine and Natalie Caples, co-CEOs of the Central California Food Bank. We want to congratulate each and every one of these ladies for their amazing accomplishments and for their selection as this year's Top 10 Professional Women and Leading Business Awards. We are very happy to honor you today, ladies, and we look forward to recognizing you at greater length in just a little bit. All right, if you can all please stand for our invocation and flag salute. We would like to welcome a member of the Mason family, Lawrence J. Mason. Lawrence is the nephew of Marjaree Mason and is not only a local business owner, but also an ordained minister, serving as an associate minister at New Beginnings Community Baptist Church.
Pray for my knees. Thank you. Let us stand for a flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I got some friends here today. Yvonne, do you remember me? Excellent. And I also am going to meet new friends. So thankful for all the work that you ladies do. It means a whole lot. When my aunt was alive, she brought family that we didn't have initially. And so what that means is that she brought people that were not connected and made them connected. And that's exactly what each one of you do. And so we're so thankful for your diligence in the spirit to live out the life that God has given you and the task that he's put before you. So we just want to pray over you real quick and pray over the rest of us. God truly will not let us fail if we keep our hands in his hands. Let us bow our heads. Father God, we thank you. You're matchless. You're all-knowing. You're all-powerful. You're all-loving. You've kept us when we didn't want to be kept. You were faithful when we were faithless. And so we thank you, Father God, for carrying us in the spaces and in the places where we didn't know how to walk. We thank you, Father God, for each one of these ladies here, the heart that you've given them to serve, as we all should be doing, that their time is so well spent being busy, bringing people together, that all would be blessed that see them and know them. Father God, we continue to lift up each and every person at this place. Father God, give us the ability to keep our hand in your hand. We know you're faithful, and we know you'll carry us home, and you will not let us fail. So, Lord God, we lift you up today because this is the day that you made. We're going to be rejoiceful and be glad in it. We pray this in the mighty name of Jesus. We all said, amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. Well, as you can see, extra precautions were taken today in preparing and packaging your lunch to ensure health safety. Let's thank the fantastic Pardini's Catering as we continue with our program. We also want to take a special moment and honor the members of Marjaree Mason's family. If her family can please stand, Mason family. There they are. November 13th marks 43 years since the tragic death of Marjaree, and we honor the Mason family for allowing the center to keep Marjaree's legacy alive and their continued effort to end domestic violence and to bring peace to our homes, to our relationships, and to our communities. Thank you so much. Now we would like to thank some very important people. First, we want to specifically recognize last year's 2020 Top 10 honorees in attendance today. If you can please stand from wherever you are seated. This phenomenal group of women were honored in the midst of COVID-19 with a virtual ceremony. So let's give them a very big round of applause for their many contributions to our community. Thank you so much, ladies. Next, let's welcome all the top 10 alumni who joined us today. If the alumni could please stand. We would like to thank you for being here and for your continued service to our community. Thank you so much. The process of being honored and sitting up here on stage is not an easy one. It takes hard work, attention to detail, and support from the community. Every year, attendees ask, how do you get selected as a top 10 honoree? Well, each of these honorees was nominated by a community member. A committee of judges reviewed and scored each application based on set criteria. The nominees with the highest cumulative rankings have been selected for this year's prestigious award, and they are here today. So once again, thank you. In a community with such outstanding women, you can imagine how many nominations we receive for this award. And we would also like to take the opportunity to thank the top 10 awards panel of judges. Many thanks to Janae Conley, Robert Fox, Gina Lugong, and Rosh Zodi Lane for the countless efforts and hours that you have spent making these selections. This event would not be possible without the tireless efforts as well of our top 10 committee, whose names are in your program, and the many volunteers that are helping out here today. Let's take a moment to show them our appreciation. We also have numerous elected officials and their staff attending here this afternoon. Will all of our elected officials please stand to be recognized? Thank you all for your service to our community and for your support to the Marjaree Mason Center. It is my pleasure to now introduce the presenting sponsor. Our presenting sponsor is Jeffrey Incanza, CEO of Calviva Health Plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Calviva Health, I would like to thank you for being here to support the Marjaree Mason Center. Calviva Health has been a proud sponsor for the past 8 years. As I stand here today, I am also aware many of you may not know me. If you are one of those individuals, my name is Jeff Incanza, and as of August, I am the new CEO of Calviva Health. Thank you. Although I am new to this position, I have been with Calviva Health since we first began operations in March of 2011. Over these past 10 years, I have been a part of Calviva Health's effort to partner with various community partners, such as Marjaree Mason Center, and provide vital Medi-Cal managed care services to the 386,000 members that Calviva Health serves in Fresno, Kings, and Madera counties. Calviva Health is local in the sense that our leaders live within Fresno, Kings, and Madera counties, and believes in impacting positively the lives of every individual who lives within these communities. It has been a privilege these past 8 years for Calviva Health to be a part of the education and advocacy to end domestic violence. Furthermore, today, it is an honor to be in the presence of this year's top 10 honorees. Congratulations again to each and every one of you. A prominent media executive and philanthropist once said, "Passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. Those were the words of Miss Oprah Winfrey. And as I had the opportunity to listen to the stories of this year's top 10 honorees, and in some cases, speak with several of them, I felt this energy resonating from them as they shared their path, which led them to where they are today. Calviva Health will remain committed to this event, as we know that organizations like the Marjaree Mason Center and the countless others in our community are critical to the people of our valley. Thank you.
Now I would like to welcome to the stage Marjaree Mason Center's Executive Director, Nicole Linder.
Thank you so much for being here in person today. Can we just take a quick moment? Last year we did a virtual event and you all continued to stick with us for that. And today we are in a COVID-friendly outdoor environment spread across Grizzly Stadium in very unique ways. And I just want to say thank you very, very much. It is wonderful to see all your faces and not on a computer screen for a day. And it's a tremendous honor to be a part of an event that recognizes such amazing women with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect. Thank you. At this time, I want to also ask our Marjaree Mason Center Board of Directors to please stand and be recognized for all of your time and energy you give to the organization, and even more so the last 18 months. Thank you. I could not ask, please stand. I know some of you. I couldn't ask for a better leadership team and set of bosses who volunteer their time and care so fiercely for our mission, so thank you. Next, I'd like to invite any of our Marjaree Mason Center staff that are here and not running in 1,000 directions to please stand along with our volunteers. I specifically want to call out our team lead for this, Charity Susnick, Michelle Kalkaski, Jenny Dolio, our entire team. Thank you for sharing your gifts. We only can do what we do with the people we have, and so they are the ones serving on the front line. I just want to say thank you. Next, I'd like to thank all of our community partners that are here, and there's a lot of you, so I hope most of you are out of your seats. Law enforcement, CBOs, schools, healthcare agencies, social service organizations, any of you that are here that work alongside Marjaree Mason Center to provide resources to the most vulnerable in our community, would you please stand? We are stronger and more effective when we work together. We also have a few of our No More student ambassadors here today. And if you're available, would you please stand as well? These students are stepping out, they're high school students stepping out in a big way to ensure future generations have healthy relationships. So please give these young leaders a round of applause. I can personally only do the work I do with my family. I'm grateful that my husband Colby and son Lucas are here today. They're probably mad that I did that. That's okay. Each year for our Top 10 Luncheon, we're humbled by the partnership of many generous sponsors. This was the largest number of sponsors we have ever had at this event, and I just want to say thank you. These businesses and organizations throughout our community who believe in the mission and desire to honor and recognize these women, but to give back to our community. We're truly overwhelmed by your kindness. Because it is such a long list, I'm going to ask you to please hold your applause till the end while we watch this video.
Thank you to presenting sponsor, Calviva Health. Keynote speaker sponsor, Valley Children's Healthcare. Diamond sponsors, Campos Brothers Farms, The Wonderful Company. Centerpiece sponsor, Bank of America. Honoree reception sponsor, Dutch Bros Coffee. Media sponsors, ABC 30, The Business Journal, Cumulus Radio, MJR Creative Group. Platinum sponsors, B Sweet Citrus, Central Valley Community Foundation, Community Medical Centers, Fresno Clovis Convention and Visitors Bureau, Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission, Golden One Credit Union, JD Food, Johansson Transportation Services, JPL, Maxco, Noble Credit Union, St. Agnes Medical Center, The Zenith, United Health Centers, Valley-Wide Beverage, Fund a Need sponsor, ASI Navia Benefits, Mobile Giving sponsor, Central California Legal Services. Gold sponsors, Agriland, Black Women Organized for Political Action, Coglia Environmental, California Bank and Trust, California State University Fresno, California State University Fresno Visalia Campus, Central California Faculty Medical Group, Chevron, Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino, Donna G Sales, Echo World, Fowler Packing, Fresno City College, Fresno Unified School District, Guarantee Goodwill Network, Heinz Hospice, Hub International, Manco Abbott, Mid-Valley Disposal, Paul Mitchell The School Fresno, Pavarello House, Premier Valley Bank, Producers Dairy, Sante, Sikh Women's Organization of Central California, Tachi Palace Casino Resort, the Garabedian Group, Thiessen Duker, UCSF Fresno, Union Bank, United Security Bank, Wathan Castanos.
Thank you for joining us in honoring and recognizing our sponsors. In addition to celebrating 11 worthy award recipients, we're also here to raise awareness for domestic violence in our community. There's a reason we hold this event during October, which is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The Marjaree Mason Center is committed to working each and every day to eradicate domestic violence in Fresno County by assisting survivors and their families to build healthy futures. We know that 1 in 4 women are affected by domestic violence, which means if you have 8 women or more at your table, that's at least 2. Equally, 250 women in this room. Did you also know that 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence, and even more tragic, 1 in 3 teenagers? Last year, Marjaree Mason Center served over 9,600 adults and children impacted by domestic violence. And as the only dedicated provider of comprehensive services, we provide safe housing and supportive services in Fresno. Sadly, the city of Fresno has the highest per capita calls to law enforcement for domestic violence in the entire state of California. And you don't have to look too far around the country, and sadly, even as recent as last week in Fresno County, to see and feel the devastating impacts of domestic violence when they result tragically in death. On any given day, through our homeless assistance programs, Marjaree Mason Center is housing an average of 350 adults and children in one of our housing programs. Through 24/7 crisis response, case management, counseling, advocacy, children's enrichment, training, and education programs, we're helping people to flee unhealthy relationships and teaching both adults and children to find their voice and stand up against dating and domestic violence. The content of today's keynote speaker presentation is her testimony. It's powerful and it is somewhat graphic. If at any point in time you need support, Marjaree Mason Center staff will be available either behind the black curtain to the right of the stage or at the Marjaree Mason Center table at the entrance. Again, thank you all very, very much. Thank you to our sponsors and to each and every one of you for braving this experience and coming out today to support these fabulous honorees. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And now it is our honor and privilege to individually recognize each of our honorees. I will ask each of them to stand with their awards for a photo as their video plays. A special thanks to Dave Wilkins with Ellipsis Production Company for producing the videos of each honoree, and to Mike Rolfe. He is the former MMC board president and owner of MJR Creative Group for the various media collateral that was created by his team. And to Paul Mitchell, the School of Fresno, for the beautiful location to shoot and the videos, and for providing the honorees with their hair and makeup services today. Well, starting in alphabetical order, I invite Rama Ambati to stand.
My parents always insisted on hard work and studying hard and doing your best in whatever you do. And I'm the first girl to graduate from college in our family, and that made my parents very proud. I decided to start my own business and go into real estate. You're helping people achieve their dreams, and that's a great satisfaction. I believe it's very important to give back to the community that helped you grow. So that's why I got involved in philanthropy. So I witnessed domestic violence in India too when I was growing up, but nobody talks about it. So that made an impression on my mind growing up. So I decided to help that cause when I grew up. Especially in Southeast Asian community, people don't come forward that easy. That's why we started FISH, to make people aware. It makes me feel wonderful to know that we are giving back to the community, helping the community that helped us grow.
Thank you, Rama, and congratulations. Now let's celebrate Colleen Curtis.
I grew up, my background, probably the poorer of the middle class. We had a home and it was always consistent, but we didn't always have money for food or clothes. I was very familiar with trying to raise families and not having adequate health care or access to it. So my desire's always been to take care of people, get them what they need. You know, I raised my two sons without insurance and without health care, so I knew what that was like. And I had a real desire to just provide health care for those people who are uninsured. And so this last 12 years has been about just expansion and providing access for people that, you know, may not have ever had access to health care. One of the things I've found is that, you know, so many instances of problems that came, even the COVID pandemic and all of that, there's always something good that comes out of everything, no matter what it is, that barrier that you're facing. I just recommend to people to always do the right thing, even if it's not in your best interest particularly, and just following a good set of values and that you make your decisions on. And don't be afraid to take on the hard things. You might surprise yourself.
Congratulations, Colleen. Up next, let's recognize Dr. Teresa Daniele.
So I started a women's heart health screening event about 8 years ago with UCSF Fresno and community medical centers. And every year we have lectures and breakout sessions with trying to figure out what your cardiac risk is. And I talk to patients about, you don't have to be a statistic, right? You could turn this around. And there's one lady in particular that comes to mind who's still a patient of mine, who came to the very first one. And I remember her particularly because she came and spoke to me after the event. And she said, look, I'm the poster child of what you described, and I'm afraid. And I said, well, it's not too late. This is what you need to do, and you can turn it around. And I didn't hear from her. And the following year, she came to the event again. And she pulled out a picture and she said, this is me. You don't remember me, do you? And sure enough, it was the lady that I had met a year ago. She had lost 150 pounds. She was off of all of her medications for diabetes and blood pressure and cholesterol, and felt amazing. And as a result of that, she had inspired her two daughters, who were also overweight and unhealthy, to turn their life around, who had children and they were role models for their children who inspired those, now the grandchildren, if you will. That's what it's all about, is making a difference in people's lives. We have one life to live. We have to make the best of it. And if you can inspire one person, it's just a trickle-down effect, right? That person inspires their spouse, their family members, and so forth. I think that's one of my proudest moments of really my career, is being able to help in that capacity.
Congratulations, Teresa. All right, now let's applaud Shantae Davies-Bulch.
Black Wellness and Prosperity Center is the first CBO in the county of Fresno, specifically founded to address the Black maternal health crisis that we're experiencing here. My mom died of breast cancer way too young. She had been going to her doctor and voicing her concerns, asking to see a specialist. And it really came down to this quantitative, really, and qualitative data that we have not only in Fresno, but across the nation, which is that Black voices are not heard, they're not listened to, they're not really respected or regarded. And so she went for almost a year untreated for preventable breast cancer. And so by the time she did make it to a specialist, her breast cancer had progressed pretty seriously. And she died, not too long later. So going through that navigating the healthcare system with my mom is really what sort of finalized and shaped that this is like what I had to do. This was my calling. So here I am. It's our job as society now for all of us to take in sort of shared responsibility and shared accountability in terms of like what we want the world to look like. We have a lot of power collectively, I think, as humans to do that. And sometimes that might require doing something really uncomfortable. We have a lot of power to change like what the future looks like and how people are motivated and what they're motivated to do. So I think it's a group effort.
Congratulations, Shantae. Now let's give a round of applause for Valerie F. Davis.
What motivates me? The kids, trying to do the right thing for 74,000 children every single day, every single hour, every moment. They're on my mind. What can I do? How can I inspire their teachers? How can I get the equipment they need, the books, the education, the best people in front of them every day so they can be the best they can be and grow up and fulfill their life dreams? How the school goes, so goes the town. We have to prepare our students to be vibrant. We have to prepare our students to be able to do the work they need to do. When I started on the Board of Education 17, almost 18 years ago, our graduation rate was 63%. I believe today it's closer to 85 and 86%. That didn't happen overnight, and that's not all of them. So what is the motivating factor? You stand on a stage in front of 600 plus kids that are changing their lives and their families. A lot of our children, their parents didn't finish, and they are the first ones in their families to make that difference and to be there. That's exciting. Our superintendent always tells us, Bob Nelson, if you're having a bad day, then do something for someone else. Get lost in the work of serving others. So I am tremendously humbled to have this opportunity to sit on the Board of Education, the third largest school district in the state of California, and make the best decisions I can for our 74,000 students.
Congratulations, Valerie. It's now time to recognize Yvonne Dertarosian.
My job at St. Agnes Medical Center really entails me being the liaison between the hospital and the community. So I work with a lot of community-based organizations to make sure that we're making some differences for residents who live in the Fresno County and Madera counties, specifically around health and access, hunger issues, things that we have identified through our needs assessments. I love that I get to work with some amazing people in the community who really care about what's happening to the people who live here. We've been able to make a difference with homeless populations. And recently, what I'm most proud of are the vaccines that we've provided out to rural communities, farm workers, their families. So we provided vaccines to over 10,000 farm workers and their families, and I'm really proud of the opportunity that I was given to do that in the communities. Right now, I'm in a place where I'm living in the moment. My husband just passed away in March, and I think we're in a really interesting time when so many families are losing loved ones. And I think this is the moment where we define whether or not we call on friends and family for help, even when we haven't been used to doing that. And that is where I've drawn my strength lately. What I realized is that success comes from being courageous, and sometimes that also means being vulnerable. And I'm so proud and humbled for this recognition, and I'm so grateful.
Congratulations, Yvonne. Now let's celebrate Dr. Luz Gonzalez.
I am the third parent in my family. I helped raise 5 siblings. And I had a commitment to changing the next generation and opening doors to understanding that there was something beyond the fields of California. And I never realized until later in life that passion that I had for my father, for my mother, for supporting my siblings would translate into the love that I have for this region, for the children of the parents of this region. I want them to have daughters and sons like me, and even better than me, that will think about them and pull them out of poverty. I was happy when I was able to take my parents out of a mobile home. My father was in a wheelchair at the time, and build a house for them. When I was able to give a kidney to my father in 1996 because I had a great job at the university, colleagues that were supportive, and I had 2 great kidneys. So I gave him one. And it's all because I had medical insurance. I had all these wonderful benefits that others before me didn't have. But this love of family translated in equal measures to the love for the university, to the love for the students that the university supports, because to invest in your children now is to invest in yourself in the future.
Congratulations, Luz. Now join me in congratulating Sarah Murhadi.
Every single homeless person belongs to somebody. They're a daughter, they're a son, they're an uncle, they're an aunt, they're a mother, and they're a father. And they belong to somebody, or there's a cousin somewhere. Most of our clients have been a victim of domestic violence of some sort in their life, have had a lot of childhood trauma. They've either witnessed or been a part of it, including men. And so I know that those traumatic events have lifelong consequences to them. Some of our homeless families have been homeless for generations. They've never had stable housing. and they think substandard living is the way to go. There's never an opportunity for them to thrive, and we want to give them that opportunity. So that's why I like working, because I give them those opportunities, and maybe 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work, but for that one person, it has lifelong successes, and that can be generational wise. I believe my purpose here was to help those who don't have a voice, because a lot of times victims do not have a voice, and the homeless do not have a voice. They need somebody to advocate for them, because if they don't have that, they're gonna be stuck. And so that's what I like working with POV, is because I have to work both with agencies and professionals and street level staff that can go in and get these services and bridge that gap in between them, so we can have empathy for each other. And therefore, if we have empathy for each other, we can have empathy for the client. We work in hope. It's not depressing, because it's hope. You know, sometimes a smile, sometimes it's giving them a blanket, sometimes it's just saying hello and recognizing them as a human being and giving them the opportunity to understand that there's more to life than just this.
Congratulations, Sarah. Next up is Sally Orm Moreno.
When you find the thing that you're made to do, then the work ceases to be work, and the rewards come on their own. You don't have to figure it out today. Go in a direction and keep your head up, and the thing that you're meant to do will find you. And then you'll know that that's something that you can pour yourself into and make a change. I was born to keep my community safe. I, for a long time, thought that just being a prosecutor was sufficient, and I loved being a prosecutor and carrying a caseload and helping victims. But now I have this other skill set that allows me to communicate with people. So communicating what's going on in the system, especially these days, is important. A lot of people, I think, don't understand how our criminal justice system works. So to be able to communicate clearly and express what's going on, and move the community towards public safety, that's what I was made to do. People need to be heard. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. So you have to take that time up front and let people know. We have very difficult problems to solve in criminal justice. You know, we collaborate with defense, we collaborate with behavioral health professionals, we collaborate with the VA to help our veterans, and we sort of look at cases instead of with a real broad brush. I end up being focused on how can I help this individual get out of the criminal justice system. But when we get into these collaborative courts, we're able to focus on individuals and change lives.
Congratulations, Sally. Now join me in celebrating Lorna Rausch.
It definitely started with my parents. You know, they've always pushed that we can do whatever we want. As long as we work hard and keep our integrity, we can do whatever we want in the world. I want to see ag stay strong. It takes all of us to be a part of that. And whether it's from driving the tractor, picking the melons, to going to the board meetings and making these decisions, and going through the political field too. It's the whole thing that comes around that we need to be a part of. I tell young women, visit the farms, visit the plants, visit the processors, and learn about it. Go to your board meetings and speak about what you're confident about and educated about. And not only that, but you can sit and listen. You know, I am a mother to 2, a grandmother to 3. So that is 7 generations for our farm. And 4 of us live on the ranch, 4 generations. And I want to make sure I give every opportunity to my grandkids to be able to have their options. If they want to stay and farm, I want to make sure that there is agriculture in this valley for them to farm. We are stewards of the land, and we care, and we're going to keep caring and doing the best we can for everyone.
Congratulations, Lorna. Well, last but not least, Natalie Caples and Kim Dildine, the award for leading business, Central California Food Bank.
There's nothing like handing someone food and seeing their face and how it changes their entire demeanor. Giving people their basic need, it just changes who you are. It rewrites your DNA. And it also gives you a feeling that we're all in this together.
Hunger seems to be a hidden epidemic. 1 in 4 adults and 1 in 3 kids struggle with hunger or putting enough food on the table every single day. And that's what the food bank is trying to resolve, is hunger.
We've got to reframe things. And so we get the privilege of entering into people's lives, whether it's handing them food, so it's one less thing they've got to stress out about for the day, or employing people and letting them change the narrative of their family.
When the CEO position was vacated, Kim and I had been operating in a chief operating role and a chief administrative role for the past 4 years. One of us was going to have to put their hat in the ring, but how amazing would it be to break down this traditional hierarchical, organizational structure and do something just so out of the box, like a shared leadership role. And because I know that we both want the best for the organization and the best for the neighbors that we serve, it works. And there is nobody else that I think I could do this with or that I'd want to do this with.
It took a leap of faith on our board of directors to believe that we could make this happen and that this relationship would help the organization be stronger and to make a bigger impact on the community. And so I'm proud to say that we have, and it does work really, really well. And because of it, more neighbors are fed every single day because we get to do this together.
And I just know that we are exactly where we are supposed to be in this moment in time. And that feels awesome. And it feels awesome that we get to be able to share these gifts and this passion with the team and ultimately with the community.
We all need a little love sometime and reminded of the bigger picture and the bigger impact, and making a difference in one person's life can change entire families for generations.
Congratulations, lady, and congratulations to the Central California Food Bank. So audience, will you please join us in a collective round of applause? And ladies, can you stand one more time? One more time. Thank you to each and every one of our award recipients. Each of the honorees was presented with several proclamations from our elected officials and special gifts from the Vault Jewelers, Revival 23, and House of Hair. Thank you for your generosity that you've shown our remarkable honorees. Thank you, ladies. You're awesome. Thank you. We also want to give special thanks to Valley Children's Healthcare for sponsoring our keynote speaker today. It is a tremendous honor for me to introduce Dr. Jolie Limon to the stage to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Limon is Vice President of Academic Affairs and the founder of the residency program. And on behalf of Valley Children's Healthcare, I want to welcome you up on a stage. Thank you.
Quite an honor to be up here with such an amazing and diverse group of women. And I'm not going to be using the teleprompter because I don't know how, so I will be using my paper. So on behalf of Valley Children's Healthcare, we are honored to be part of today's event celebrating the 2021 Top 10 Award recipients. We are united with the Marjaree Mason Center in creating safe places for families and where kids can be kids. April Hernandez Castillo's dream of being an actress became a reality when she booked her first commercial as Yo Girl in the Visa check card spot starring Yao Ming and Yogi Berra. The commercial would air for the Super Bowl and become a sports classic. She then went on to star in television shows such as Law and Order, SVU, The Following, Person of Interest, and Elementary. April garnered a recurring role on Showtime's Dexter, which she was nominated for a SAG Award for Best Ensemble Cast. April is most noted for her powerful portrayal for Ava Benitez in the hit movie Freedom, writers starring Oscar Award winner Hilary Swank. She most recently worked on NBC's popular show New Amsterdam and Fox's The Prodigal Son. April has also graced a different stage as a public speaker. Her message of resilience and the ability to move beyond trauma has taken April on a journey across the United States and internationally, reaching an array of audiences from high schools, universities, and conferences. She has spoken on some of the most prestigious stages, starting from Harvard University, Q Conference, to her biggest stage date yet, TEDx. April's inspirational story of resilience and forgiveness are shared in her memoir, Embracing Me, which was released in November of 2020. A wife of 20 years and a mother of 2 daughters, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming April Hernandez Castillo.
Hello everyone, my name is April Hernandez Castillo, and it is such an honor to be your speaker today. I just want to thank the Marjaree Mason Center for the work that you all do, for giving survivors an opportunity to just move forward. You save and impact so many lives. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I also just want to congratulate everyone who is being recognized for the phenomenal work that you do in business and beyond in your community. Having a business, running a business during these times especially has been very, very difficult. So the fact that we can all celebrate and recognize you, it is just a phenomenal, phenomenal thing to do. So thank you. I'm an actor, author, TEDx speaker. I'm a mom, a wife, but most importantly, I am a survivor of intimate partner violence. And as we know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence. And DoSomething.org tells us that girls from the age of 16 to 24 will experience some form of intimate partner violence. I was one of those girls. And before I begin telling you how I experience intimate partner violence, I just want to share with you my upbringing and where I grew up. I am a New Yorker, originally born in the Boogie Down Bronx, as we like to say, and it was a phenomenal time. It was a phenomenal time. Now, I'm an 80s baby. I hope I don't, really show my age, but it was such a great moment in my life growing up in the Bronx, which would be weird to say because I grew up in New York City in one of the worst times ever, and it was known as the crack epidemic era. It was really just, there were things that I was exposed to as a young lady that no child should ever see. But I was blessed to have a mother and a father who worked extremely, extremely hard to give me the best that they could. And I just remember when I would walk through my neighborhood and seeing how drugs affected so many of my friends, of their families, it inspired me. It really made me want to somehow dream even bigger. If I can be honest, most people who I grew up with, no one ever made it out. There wasn't any talk about entrepreneurship. It was just surviving that situation. And when you see brokenness, when you see despair, sometimes that can really define you, or it can just propel you to say, I know that there is so much more for myself. And my mom and my dad worked extremely hard. My father worked for the MTA, that is our transit system, and he put me through Catholic school, and my mom was for a while a financial advisor for a beauty school. And I just wanted to be the best that I could be for them. I wanted to just make it out, as we say, because I knew that they never really had much. But what they did have, my mom would always tell me, was the power of my voice, right? She wanted me to understand the power of my voice. And when I look back, now as a woman in retrospect, I understand that my mom didn't have much to give. She was a very hard woman, and she never had another woman or anyone tell her that her voice was powerful, and that don't ever let anyone take away her voice, which is interesting because when someone falls into an abusive relationship, one of the things that is taken from us is our voice, is our ability to communicate, to speak, to just say how we feel without being afraid. Our voices are taken away. One of the most powerful things that we all have, that you all have. And my father, who was a phenomenal man, my best friend, he would always tell me about the choices that we make. See, my father is a recovering addict. He's been clean for many, many years. And he shared with me the power of choice, that someone gave him a choice to get clean. And he did that. And when my mother became pregnant with my brother and I, he thought, this is my way to redeem myself. And he chose to be a present father. Once again, when I'm thinking of choice, when we're thinking of choices, when we fall into an abusive relationship, this person that we love makes a choice to intentionally hurt us. And so we feel like our choices have also been taken away, because it's just one of those moments where you just feel like, will I ever get out of this? Or do I want to get out of this? And I'm sharing all of this with you because I didn't grow up in a broken home per se. I didn't have daddy issues. My father was very present. Because society assumes when someone falls into an abusive relationship, it is because that, they had to come from a broken place. And I wasn't broken. I was a phenomenal teenager, I like to think. I was an A student. I was athletic. I played sports. My dream was to play for the Olympic softball team. And I just was such a big dreamer. My mom would always tell me that there wasn't anything that I couldn't accomplish, that there was nothing impossible. The only thing that could hold me back was myself. And she would constantly just sow these seeds. And I mention that because as parents, sometimes we think our kids don't listen to us or they're not listening. And I want to encourage all of you to continue speaking life, to continue, even if your kid is not where you would like them to be, or they're not making the best decisions. Just know, as parents, we are sort of like gardeners, right? We have seeds, and we throw them around, and we hope and pray that our kids will grasp something, will hold on to something. And I never let go of those words. I never let go of the words that my father shared, that a man who loves you will be there for you, that a man who loves you will not hurt you, that he will honor you. Because those words were the things that saved my life. So fast forward, as I'm in high school, I'm about 16 years old, and I never really had a steady boyfriend. And then I finally meet a guy. And my goodness gracious, he was someone, he didn't look like anyone that I have ever dated. He was exotic to me. I felt excited because I had this guy who, he was a little older, and I can't even believe that I was able to date him. And I remember my mother, who was just this, you know, us moms, we have that instinct, we have that third eye, we have that thing that tells us something isn't right. And I remember having a conversation with her while she was having her coffee. She looked at me and she said, "Grown men don't like to hold hands." And I thought, "Mommy, what are you talking about?" And she knew, be careful. This guy's a little older than you, he knows more than you, and I just want you to be aware. How many times do we talk to our kids and try to tell them, right? Look out for this, look out for that. But remember, as teenagers, we rebel. We want to explore. We want to make our own mistakes. And I said, "Mom, what are you talking about? I love him. He loves me." You know, that whole dramatic spiel. And I remember one day we were in front of my parents' apartment. They were inside, and he and I were having a very heated discussion. And out of nowhere, he just went, boom. And I remember that was the first time he hit me. I went into shock. My body went numb. My face went numb, and I had a ringing in my ear from the intensity. He was about 5'10", and I am about 5'1". He was a very strong man. He was a construction worker. So when he hit me, it was as if a ton of bricks were just thrown at me, at my face. And I stared at him, and I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't see his soul. I didn't see a human being. I just saw someone who really wanted to hurt me. And I just stood there and I said, "You just hit me." And he didn't respond. It was as if he was enjoying this moment. And that was the first time where I thought, my goodness, I hope this never happens again. As a survivor, when you are experiencing intimate partner violence, domestic violence, it happens so fast that sometimes you don't even realize that it's actually happening. And you hope that it never happens again. So I didn't leave right away, especially because I was so young. I was, 16, a teenager. He was also my first intimately. I was never with anyone else, and so I felt this connection to him. My self-esteem was sort of it tied to his, and that slap continued. And I began to become isolated from all of my friends. I began lying because we would get into such intense fights that I didn't want anyone to know. And let me tell you something. When you want to hide something, especially teenagers, they will tell everyone else before they tell you as the parent. They will do their best to conceal because they are terrified. But really, it's just the shame. And that, to me, was the most difficult thing to deal with because I was a tough girl, because I knew that a man should not hit a woman. I didn't grow up in a violent home per se. And so here I was, hiding all of these things that were happening to me. And when he slapped me, I remember just rushing into the bathroom. And the whole time my parents were there. They had no idea that their little girl, their teenage daughter, was about to embark on the most tumultuous relationship of her life. And for the next 3.5 years, the violence would continue. And so the typical isolation, just lying, emotional and mental abuse, and how he would speak to me. He would terrorize me while I was in the hallway, because we would hang out there, obviously, because my parents sometimes didn't want me to have guests over. And he would just terrorize me in the place where I grew up, and no one ever caught us. And I was thinking, my goodness, there are so many signs, but yet no one is seeing. And it's really because I didn't want anyone to see it. I didn't want anyone to know. And I remember the day where I really thought, this is it. My life is going to be over. It was a summer night. We were hanging out, a couple of my friends, and I remember seeing him, and he was walking. But as he was walking, he was holding hands with another girl. And of course, my friends wanted to retaliate, and I thought to myself, it's okay, I can handle this, I'm a big girl. But really, I didn't want to be exposed. No one knew about my abuse. None of my friends knew how bad it was. And so if I reacted, I didn't know if he would hit me in front of my friends, and then I would be exposed. And no teenager likes to be exposed. None of us want to feel as though we don't have it together, right? Because that's what we do sometimes as teenagers. We like to feel like, we have everything together. And for me, that was very important. And I told my friends, no, I have it, don't worry. And when they left, a part of me, I just wish I would have left with them. Because I had no idea that within a few hours, my life came so close to ending. I had a pair of shorts on, and in true abuser fashion, he was manipulating the situation and saying that I wanted to wear shorts because I wanted other guys to look at me, and I wanted to, be in other relationships. Mind you, I just caught him cheating on me. And he just manipulated the whole entire situation. And we went to his apartment and we fought. And I had a white shirt. And within a couple of hours, the shirt was now red. I must have been about 18. And if you can for a moment, I would like for you to remember, or try to remember, where you were and what you were doing at the age of 18. Just take a moment. Just remember what you were doing, what your dreams were. Because at 18 years old, I was on the verge of death. Because at 18 years old, when I'm supposed to be getting ready for college, all I was thinking about, how was I going to survive? How was I going to get out of this really unhealthy, toxic, abusive situation? And as it became worse, I knew that he had the ability to end my life. And I felt like that's where it was going. And so in that moment, when I saw that my shirt was red, I ran out the door, and I wanted to scream, and I was screaming, and no one heard me. I was hoping that an old woman or a chihuahua would make some noise, where someone would have to open the door so I could run in, and no one opened the door. And he grabbed me, and he said, now you're really gonna get it. And all I could think about was, if I leave blood on the door, or if I leave blood on the walls, cops will have my DNA. Cops will know that I was here, and my parents will be able to just have some peace of knowing this is where I was. This is all my thought process as I'm fighting with him, because I just knew I didn't know if I was gonna make it out. And finally the fighting stopped, and he walked over and he grabbed a first aid kit. And inside the first aid kit, they come with the alcohol pads. And he began to clean my blood. And he said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did this. I just love you so much." And I looked at him and I said, "Why don't you just kill me? Why don't you just get it over with?" Did I leave? No, I didn't leave. I didn't leave because I was afraid, because I was ashamed, because a part of me sort of still cared for him in a very unhealthy way. Right? Why do women stay, or why don't they leave? Those are the questions. And you don't know why a woman stays, because there's so many reasons. But most of the time, what we deal with as survivors is just a level of shame that locks us in. That we feel as if we have no way out, or that our voices that were silenced can never be heard again. Because we've been hearing someone tell us that no one cares about us, that our voices don't matter, that no one is going to ever love us, that we ourselves don't love who we are. And one day I woke up because I was in so much pain and I wanted to end my life. And I thought, if I just commit suicide, if I just do something to hurt myself, I won't feel this pain and I won't be in this relationship again. And I woke up and I knew my mom had some pills, and I was very calculated. I said, I will just take these pills and pray that I don't wake up. But something inside of me told me that I knew I had to survive. And so I got on my knees and I just prayed. I said, "God, if you are real, I need you to save me." Nothing glorious happened, but two specific things happened that moment. I decided to leave him, and I decided that I was going to live again. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know where I was going to get the strength, but I called him and I said, "I am done. I am done with this. I am done with you. And I don't care if you want to continue hurting me, but we are broken up. It is over." And that was over 20-something years ago. And today I stand here, a married woman with a phenomenal husband, not my abuser. We have been together for 20 years. He loved me, and I share in my book, Embracing Me, I talk about our story. I talk about how intense it was for him to be with someone who was a victim at that time, which to me, I never really understood that I was a victim. I just knew that I had left a really bad situation. And when I was writing, I shared that there was a moment, because I was very aggressive. I suffered severe PTSD. I was violent, not towards him, but I could be very violent if I felt threatened. And we were having a discussion that any typical relationship, when you have heated discussions, but because of my PTSD, I remember I spoke to him in a very derogatory way, and he looked at me and he said, "I love you, but I love me more. And you cannot talk to me or treat me that way because I did not abuse you." And I was a hot mess. I thought, oh my goodness, I am repeating the cycle because I didn't get any help. because I didn't know of a Marjaree Mason Center. I didn't know of a DoSomething.org or Love is Respect, all of these resources that so many people have today, or the telephone, right? I lived in a time where we didn't have cell phones. We had the yellow pages, or we had a random church event, and not even of if you felt safe or if you were in an abusive relationship. But at that time, I was in a Catholic school, and I wasn't even supposed to be having sex, if I can say that freely. So I definitely was not going to share that I was in an abusive relationship. And so when I'm working with parents, when I'm facilitating workshops, I'm always telling the parents, there are always signs. If my parents would have looked a little harder, they would have seen all the things that I destroyed in my room. And that's what I encourage so many of us to speak up. If you see something, say something. And I know that it is so terrifying. It is so terrifying to speak up, because you don't want to hurt anyone, especially with teenagers, right? Loyalty and trust are so important. They know that if I express this to a faculty member or teacher, staff member, I'll be taken away. So I rather talk to my friends. So what do we do when that happens? And sometimes it's just being an ear. It's just providing them with so many resources now that we have, and allowing them to just sort of say, hey, we're here. If you suspect, right? Hey, we're just here. We want you to know we support you. If I would have heard those words from a teacher, maybe I would have said something. But because I knew that if I did say something, I would get in trouble. Not necessarily get the help, but I would get in trouble. And I also think about the boundaries that my husband at that time, when we were just dating, put up. And sometimes we feel afraid to put boundaries or set boundaries to our relationships, to our friendships. But it is so important. It is so important that we know our values, our standards. And the moment that they are not honored, that's when we look at the relationship and say, hey, you know what? I don't think this is working for me. Let me try to move on. Let me try to surround myself with other kinds of friends. Because intimate partner violence affects children. If you think that it doesn't, it does. It starts so young. It is no longer, domestic violence is not just an adult problem. It is an everyone's problem. And when we are aware, when we are willing to just say, okay, I don't want to be afraid as a parent, as a teacher, as a youth advocate, I don't want to be afraid anymore to have these conversations. And what I love encouraging parents, don't be afraid to invade, right? Don't be afraid to invade. Now, I know that sounds harsh because we live in a time where we want to honor and respect our kids, but let me tell you something. Domestic violence doesn't honor anyone. Abuse doesn't honor anyone. It doesn't respect anyone. It doesn't care about race, gender. It affects everyone at all levels. So it is our duty. It is our duty to speak up, to take action. It's taken me a very long time to just be able to speak freely. But when I was left that moment in my room, I made a promise to God that anywhere I would go, I would share my story. And the fact that I've been able to share that in a book, the fact that I am able to just speak to wonderful people like yourselves, that's the gift. That's the greatest gift that you can give to anyone who finds themselves in that kind of situation. Sometimes it's not about anything else but being present, showing empathy. When you don't know what to say, you say it. I don't know what to say, but I am here for you. Those are all the things that can make a huge, huge difference into someone's life. You have no idea the journey that they have come through and from and where they're going. But if they can feel safe in front of you, if you can provide a safety net, a place full of love, I guarantee you, you can make a difference in their lives. When we use our voice, we empower others. When we share our stories, we give them a level of hope that they just need. And when we make the choice to live, that is a phenomenal gift. You deserve to live. We deserve to live. And today I am living. I'm living because of those powerful words that I heard from my father. I am living because I knew that there was so much more. It's never easy sharing a story like this, but it is necessary. I thank you so much for the work that all of you are doing. I don't know your personal stories. I don't know if you have been a victim or if you're in the process of being a survivor. Wherever you are in your journey, keep moving forward. Thank you. God bless.
We want to thank April for her honest and inspiring message today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Marjaree Mason Center's board president, Dr. Bonnie Herr.
On behalf of the Marjaree Mason Center Board of Directors, I thank you for joining us for this day of celebration and awareness. As Nicole shared with you earlier, domestic violence is one of the most pervasive issues in Fresno County, and the Marjaree Mason Center is the only organization countywide that is dedicated to providing victims of domestic violence and their families with the comprehensive services they need to gain freedom from their violent and abusive household. Many arrive at the Marjaree Mason Center with little more than the clothes on their backs, and the Marjaree Mason Center provides them with the tools and resources they need, not only to survive, but to thrive. Please join me in watching one of their stories.
The father of my kids was a drug addict, and we were all afraid of him. I was scared, and so were my kids. He was the only one that worked, so he would give me whatever was left of the money and expect me to pay all these bills. He also intimidated me a lot. I didn't see it as intimidation back then. I didn't know that that's what it was, you know. We would have conversations and he would be sharpening knives, yelling, putting down, name calling, bad words. And it got progressively worse. He started getting aggressive. And that's when he started with pushing or pulling like the hair, poking with his fingers on my legs. He would leave the bruises. And I still didn't see none of that as abuse. My kids, I think, were the turning point. I was like, oh, it's only a matter of time before he hits them or tries to do something to them. He would go on binges. And every time he came back, after 2-3 days of being out, he would come in a really bad mood. And so the last time that he went, I saw it as an opportunity to escape. Leticia was the one that took us in, and she immediately, took care of my kids, and that made me feel almost immediately safe.
Alicia came in very fragile. First thing she asked me was, do you accept voice? Because everywhere I've turned to does not want to take my son. I can't leave my son. I reassured her I would not be bringing her in without her son.
Being able to have that emergency shelter when I needed it was life changing and saving, yeah.
Without the safe house services, most of our clients would have to go back home to their abusive partner because they don't have the supports in place. So for someone like Alicia, we were her only support system.
They gave me a list of resources that they thought I would qualify for and that I should follow, and they referred me to Centro La Familia was the one that helped me with my legal situation here in the US. The welfare department, they referred me to counseling within, group meetings.
And she made sure to work with her case manager on whatever it is that she needed to do to get on her feet, which did take her through that whole entire process of emergency housing. And from there, we got her into a transitional setting, which gave her more time to get on her feet. And then soon after, she was able to get into her own place with one of our housing projects, where we were still able to financially support her and her kids until she was fully ready to be on her feet.
Alicia and her children are just one of the thousands helped by Marjaree Mason Center. And sadly, until we end the cycle of violence, there will be many more. That's why we need your help. By supporting the Marjaree Mason Center with a financial gift, you will ensure that future families will receive the same service and support as Alicia and her children. In your printed program is a response card with an envelope for donations. Volunteers in the purple aprons will accept your envelopes as you leave, or you can mail them in at a later time. In addition, thanks to Central California Legal Services, you have also have the option to use your camera to scan the QR code on the table tent at your seat to be linked to the MMC donation page. Please take a moment right now to make donation to the Marjaree Mason Center. Together, I believe we can build a community free of domestic violence. Thank you.
The youth that reside at the Marjaree Mason Center safe houses are the artists behind those beautiful little wood boxes that are part of the centerpieces today. We want to thank Bank of America for being the centerpiece sponsor, so please take a look for an important announcement from B of A.
Hello, I'm Mark Riley, President of the Fresno Visalia Market for Bank of America.
And I'm Marisa Moore, Market Executive for the Fresno Visalia Market. We are pleased to be the centerpiece sponsor for today's Top 10 event. The planter box at each of your tables is one of a kind and was decorated by a child that is receiving services from Marjaree Mason Center. Please consider purchasing a planter box to support the work to prevent and end domestic violence in our community.
We are also excited to announce Marjaree Mason Center is one of the 42 organizations chosen this year as a Neighborhood Champions awardee. Through Neighborhood Champions, Bank of America empowers nonprofit leaders to address community needs by providing a combination of leadership development and $50,000 in flexible funding.
This investment is an important part of our efforts to build thriving communities by addressing issues critical to economic mobility.
Marjaree Mason Center will join over 1,300 elite nonprofit organizations who have benefited from the Neighborhood Champions grant provided by Bank of America since its inception in 2004.
We look forward to continuing our partnership and supporting your work to prevent and end the cycle of abuse.
Thanks again to Mark and Marissa. And as they mentioned, for a minimum donation of $20, you can take those one-of-a-kind decorated planter boxes that are on your tables. You can take them home as a reminder that you are contributing to the changing lives of these children and their families. We'd like to again thank Bank of America as our centerpiece sponsor for helping us tell the story of a Marjaree Mason Center client and her family. Again, take the planter box with you to a volunteer wearing a purple apron or to the registration table at the entrance of the concourse where a volunteer will accept your donation. There are also, so you don't fight over them, there are also more planter boxes at the registration table at the entrance of the concourse and the one on your table's already been selected or been taken. All right, lastly, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So you can help by wearing purple on October 21st to raise awareness and tag Marjaree Mason Center in your photos. You can find more on MMC's social media sites and, of course, on the web. And on behalf of the Marjaree Mason Center, thank you all for being here this afternoon and supporting the Marjaree Mason Center and our top 2021 top 10 honorees. This concludes our program. We hope you have the beautiful rest of your day.